Alrighty, welcome back to another D2 build. Today we're doing Merciless. It's in the bottom 10 for the least used exotics in Destiny 2. Acreus is still number one least used, even after the buff. So we're doing a Merciless build. Woo! Also, we're using stand-asides. Very odd choice, but kind of underrated, I'm not going to lie, especially in higher end content. Before we get into it though, I'm going to let you know, in the last video, pretty sure I said I was going to be making a build video every week until release. Since we only have 2 weeks left in the season, I do kind of want to keep the builds that I have set up for day one raid kind of a secret until day one happens. Just because, one, I don't want to give away too much information about it. And my team is not exactly going for Worlds first, since it's on a Friday, which screws everything over in people's availability, so we're at least going to try to complete it. Still don't know if I'm going to stream it on YouTube or Twitch. I don't know yet. However, next week I'll be releasing a video comparing Elden Ring and my gripes with it, and because I've put in a lot of time for it, so I'm more comfortable talking about it now, and Bloodborne, in the comparison of the two. I won't be talking about any of the previous Dark Souls games, because I don't have any experience with those. That being said, the week before release, I am working currently on a fusion song between Taken King, and that song that's in there, and Doom, because it oddly fits together. I am working on it currently. That's also why I don't really have enough time to exactly put together builds and stuff, because I'm working on a song right now. I need, if it's not done earlier that week, I'll definitely try to get it out before the raid comes out. If for whatever reason, even if it's Wrath of the Machine, even though I don't think it is, it doesn't make sense to me that it will be King. It makes more sense to me that it will be King's Fall. If it's Wrath for some reason, I'm still going to release the song. That's just how it's going to be. But for today's, we got Merciless. If I remember correctly, this used to be a heavy weapon back in the Leviathan days. I don't know what it is about the Leviathan era weapons that no one uses them, but we got Merciless here. The exotic perk is useless. It is so useless. I remember this thing did get used with particle deconstruction during, I think, Season of the Lost. Yeah, I think it was during Season of the Lost. This perk is kind of useful. Reloading after a kill grants weapon damage increased, at least, due to the catalyst. I am not sure if it's necessary since I did the catalyst as soon as I got it, but the range is boosted, as you can see. The range is almost like doubled, and the stability stats are doubled as well. That being said, for my heavy, I'm using Hesitant Vengeance with autoloading. As you'll know, I don't like reloading. And Cluster Bomb for that extra act clearing. At boss spec on here, you can use Ascendancy with Explosive Light. Or you can use another rocket launcher with, like, and if you don't have autoloading, use Impulse Amplifier and Cluster Bomb. For my kinetic, I am using Fatebringer. You could also use a lightweight frame weapon with Demolitionist or any other weapon with Demolitionist. I just like Fatebringer. For the actual subclass, we are using Solar. No Loreley's here. So for here, using Hammer of Soul. For that, I like having that, being able to hit enemies in the air with the hammers. I'm not a huge fan of Burning Maul, but I respect it. Barricades. Use Rallying Barricade. We'll get to the reason why later. I always use High Lift. Use Hammer Strike. For the stand-asides, do not use Throwing Hammer. It's a useless exotic unless you're using Hammer Strike. For the grenades, use Fusion Grenades. A decent amount of the other grenades don't exactly have that damage that Fusion Grenades do, and you kind of need to get grenade kills. For the actual aspects, I'm using Soul Invictus and Roaring Flames, mostly for the 2 fragment slots of each one. For the fragments, Most of these I'm using for stats. Ember of Wonder for that plus 10 resilience. Ember of Combustion for plus 10 strength. This one mostly because the restoration has increased duration, and that's really good. So this is the Ember of Solace, and then Ember of Searing for that plus 10 recovery. If you want to know the elements for the mark, I'm using Arc, Legs Solar, Chest Void, Solar, and Solar. You can switch out the Void for an Solar piece as well. You at least need one Arc piece and at the very least, 3 Solar pieces. For my mark, I always keep this Arc so that I can use Outreach, which only costs 2, and switch between Powerful Friends, Lucent Blade when I'm using a sword, and Radiant Light. When you have Outreach active and Radiant Light, you have plus 20 strength. Which, as you can see, that's why I have 70 strength. Strength is going to be good because, stand asides, you get an overshield when you're sprinting with the full melee energy. And also, when you do like a shield bash, seismic strike, hammer strike or whatever, you're going to get a decent amount of that energy back. I'm using Wall of Life here. I will be spawning wells by just getting solar kills and grenade kills. Fusion Rifle Scavenger is a must. Recuperation is a must. Picking up that orb is going to give you that chunk of health. Very good. And I have strength there because stats. For stat prioritization, prioritize resilience and recovery, especially if you're tying like always, and strength after that, because that's going to be super important here. I am not using any seasonal mods here. So I'm using sniper damage resistance because fusion rifles don't have that range. Reserves are very good, and I'm using elemental ordnance here. For the arms, Well of Ordnance here, getting that extra grenade energy so I can spawn more wells. I'm using double fusion loader. You can also, instead of using double fusion loader, you can also do like a rocket loader or something like that as well. Loaders aren't too important. I just don't like spending time to reload. For the helmet, Harmonic Siphon is a must to generate those orbs. Fusion Rifle Ammo Finder is a must. And Elemental Armaments to spawn as many wells as possible. I'm trying to make this build kind of as tanky as possible. And we are in the Ghost Legendary campaign. And we're going to be testing out this build. Because as you can see, I already have an overshield. For sprinting, it does stop as soon as you sprint, as soon as you stop sprinting. And as you can see, the charge time is pretty slow. So kind of pick your shots carefully. That triggers another reason why I kind of had that damage resistance on. I think really the only thing that Merciless really needs, if it had a faster recharge time, it'd be so much better. This charge time is probably the slowest that I've seen. Personally, there are just so much better options. Like Cartesian, for example, is a great alternative to Merciless, especially with the Vorpal weapon roll. I'm pretty sure I have Feeding Frenzy and Vorpal. But it does get that's also why I'm doing a tank-based build, since it's a little dicey trying to survive with Merciless. As we'll see here. This will be the encounter that we will be doing for this test. Let's see if I can mow through this. Beautiful. This actually does pretty good damage. Oh, I'm gonna be sprinting right after this, so I can get that overshield. And side note, picking up the orbs only works if, yes, I'm gonna pick the orbs up with. I need him to be a little bit closer. Use that grenade. Sprint to get that overshield. This makes picking up elemental wells so much more safe. And we can easily run back. And we're not going to worry about that too much. The thing's range is actually not that bad. Let's go and sprint. Give us that overshield. Oh, can't reload, sadly. We'll put up a barricade here. This is why we have a rocket. Ah. Right. We'll just target one there. That hit nothing. Putting our barricade. Literally, this Hive Guardian has like Ultra Instinct. What the? God, I hate this hunter. There we are. God. Like you see, Merciless is pretty rough against literally enemies that are fast. It has a problem with them. Ooh. This is where we run for a little bit. Grenade. Generate that orb. Getting that overshield. We'll be using the hammer strike here. Already hits back to half. Well, I'm out of ammo. Okay. Nope, I don't want to be caught by that tether. Okay, and we have our melee energy back. Let's go back to sprinting. Give us that nice overshield. Do the hammer strike. Oh, we got Merciless ammo back. Beautiful. Okay. So as you can see, that's kind of how that build works. That's also why we stacked up on Well of Life and picking up Orbs of Power, since that's going to be really, really key to having as much health so you can get that overshield active. And also, if you're running away from trouble or whatever, and you have that overshield, it's going to be less likely that a sniper is just going to one-shot you. Here's what I will say. This is a note to Bungie. Please, there's two ways they can make Merciless really, really good. Either making it do Scorch or Ignition, one of the two, or decreasing the charge time by a lot. There's just nothing super special about Merciless, because this build would also work with Cartesian. Okay, and I have hip fire grip, which is not really what you want, but I have the Vorpal. But MK4 sides, because a side note, if you are running Master Caretaker, if you're doing Runner for it, or even Base Caretaker, this is going to be very good. Since most of the time you're going to be running Bubble anyways as a Titan, and you're going to be running Shield Bash for that extra movement speed, and Lightweight Frame. Don't need Dune Marches for that extra, just that inch extra speed. You can just get that overshield, so in case if a wizard beams you, you're not gonna die. If ads are in the middle, they're not gonna kill you. So that is the build for today. Because a side note, again, next week will be in my gripes with Elden Ring, because it's a doozy. And obviously Camaro Bloodborne, it will be definitely more edited than my build video, since I mostly just record these in a couple of takes and choose the one that's best. And the Taken King Doom Fusion will happen. I don't know what the name of the song is gonna be. If y'all have title ideas, let me know in the comments below. But on that note, peace.